Somewhere in California right now, someone is scrolling past listings they can't afford in a state everyone told them was too expensive to touch. Every price starts with a comma they don't recognize. Every search ends the same way: closed tab, no house. California real estate doesn't usually say the number 40,000. I've run these numbers for years, and I can count on one hand how many times that figure has shown up on a listing that wasn't a joke. It's property number 8. I found 8 properties across this state. A probate sale on 5 acres with a sunroom and a 100-mile view. A mountain cabin somebody built by hand, board by board. A mobile home on almost 5 acres for less than most people's car payment. 8 properties, top to bottom, from $225,000 down to a number I had to read twice. I'm Tony. I run the calculation before I ever show it to you. Subscribe so you catch the next batch before the comments do. Let's start at the top. I need to say this is a probate sale before I say anything else, because once you see what's sitting on these 5 acres, you'll forget I mentioned it. The address puts you in an area locals call Wonder Valley, 35 minutes outside Twentynine Palms proper, the kind of stretch where the night sky does something to people who grew up under streetlights. No light pollution close enough to matter. Just stars stacked all the way to the horizon. This is a single-story home built in 1958, updated with a metal roof and stretched out low across the lot, the way desert houses are built to survive the sun. 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, ADA access with a walk-in shower wide enough that nobody has to think twice about it. A bonus sunroom catches the morning light before the heat sets in, and a second bonus room with its own exterior entry works as an office or a first business without anyone tracking through the main house to reach it. Walk further in and the desk in the back room still has papers stacked on it, the kind of detail that tells you this house was somebody's whole life until very recently, not a flip somebody staged for photos. That's what a probate sale looks like. 5 acres, fully fenced, room for animals, equipment, or whatever project doesn't fit inside 4 walls. 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1,728 square feet, 5 acres, metal roof, well and septic, ADA access. Probate sale sold as is. $225,000. Know which buyer you are before you call. This one rewards someone patient enough to handle probate timing for 5 acres most people would wait years to find. And the next property doesn't have 5 acres. It has 20 and a view of a mountain that's still covered in snow in April. I need to talk about the mountain before I talk about the house, because the mountain is the reason this listing exists at this price. Weed sits at the base of Mount Shasta, a small Northern California town of under 3,000 people where, as one local broker put it, everyone's in your business and families have been there for generations. It's the kind of place where the mountain isn't scenery, it's the thing everyone in town orients their whole day around. This is a 1-bedroom, 2-bath home on 20 flat acres, and the panoramic windows in the main room frame Mount Shasta and the surrounding range so directly it looks staged. Except nobody staged it. 2 skylights are already cut into the vaulted ceiling. Someone got this far, framed the openings, sealed the glass, let the light in, and then the project paused. The walls are still down to the studs in places. The floor is still concrete in the room that will one day be a second living space. From the air, this place barely registers, a dark roofline swallowed by pine and sagebrush. No driveway you could point to from 100 feet up. That's the honest part. This home needs finishing work, and the current owner isn't pretending otherwise. A well report is already on file, which saves you the first phone call most buyers have to make on rural land like this. 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 912 square feet, 20 acres. Mount Shasta views, needs finishing work, $180,000. One thing I want to know before we go further, are you watching this from California or somewhere a lot further from a view like this one? Tell me below, I read every comment. The next property drops $5,000, adds a working metal shop with its own wood stove, and comes with a backup generator. That means the power never really goes out at all. The address on this one is Pumpkin Center Road, and that's not a typo, that's just what the map calls it out here. Bieber is a small rural town of about 1,200 people, set in the mountains and high desert of northeastern California, 90 miles north of Reno and 160 miles from Sacramento in the other direction. It's the kind of place where the metro area is technically classified as very small. This is a 1964 manufactured home sitting on 2 parcels totaling just over 8 acres, with an enclosed front porch and a sunroom stretched across the back. Step inside, and every surface tells you this house stopped updating itself decades ago and never once apologized for it. Wood paneling on nearly every wall, floral curtains still hanging where someone hung them years back. A kitchen bar with turned wooden posts that nobody makes anymore because nobody has the patience. Behind the house, there's a working metal shop with concrete floors, its own wood stove, and an upper storage level, the kind of building that costs more to put up today than some of the houses on this list. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 8.17 acres, wood stove, enclosed porch, metal shop with concrete floors, backup generator, $175,000. Picture the version of this where the shop becomes a workshop for a project you've been putting off, and the 8 acres becomes the reason your grown kids actually drive up to visit. The land here doesn't ask anybody's permission for anything. That's the whole argument before you even get to the price. The next property costs $6,000 less and comes with a crime score so far above the national average that I'm putting it first before I tell you anything else. Yreka is a Northern California city of about 8,000 people that started as a gold rush boomtown in 1851, after a mule packer found gold nearby and a tent camp turned into a town almost overnight. The historic Old Town district still carries that legacy. This is a farmhouse just outside town, recently reduced in price, sitting on 3 fenced acres with 2 producing wells, one for the yard, one that feeds the house directly. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and the kind of setup that used to make a property self-sufficient. Attached garage and shop running over 1,200 square feet on its own. Walk through it and the house is mid-transition. 1 bedroom still has a bed made up and ready. Another has paint cans on the floor and a mirror leaned against the wall, waiting to be hung. A table saw sits in its box in the sunroom. This isn't a finished flip. It's a property somebody was actively working on when the listing went up. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 960 square feet, 3 acres, 2 producing wells, greenhouse, cash or private financing only, $169,000. Most people in San Diego pay more than this for a down payment. Here, it's the whole farm, wells, shop, and all. The next property is smaller, quieter, and it comes with a piece of land that isn't measured in acres so much as in how far you can walk before you stop hearing anything at all. From the air, this cabin barely registers. A dark roofline tucked so far into the pines that you'd scroll right past it if nobody pointed it out. The address sits 16 minutes outside Bieber, deep in Modoc County, more than 2,000 feet up where the pines grow thick enough that the property nearly disappears into them from above. Everything the town of Bieber offers, the shop trades, the small town pace I already told you about 2 properties ago, is a short drive from this exact spot, which means remote doesn't mean cut off out here. It just means quiet. This is a 576 square foot custom cabin on just over 2 acres, and someone built it by hand, real cedar shingles run up 1 accent wall in a pattern nobody buys pre-made. Pine paneling through the main room. A built-in window seat tucked into its own little gable with a cushion and a view of nothing but trees. The kitchen has pine cabinets with iron hardware, poured concrete countertops, and a fire extinguisher mounted at counter height. A wood stove sits on a raised stone and concrete platform in the main room, and above it, a loft holds the sleeping space. No legal bedroom on the county record, just an open loft with room for a bed and a skylight to fall asleep under. 2 separate hand-built outbuildings sit further back on the property, both roofed in metal, both wired, both ready for a workshop, a studio, or storage. One honest note, there's no bedroom on paper here, and the water and power setups are the kind you confirm before you close, not after. This is a cabin, not a conventional house, and it should be priced into your plans that way. 1 bathroom, 576 square feet, 2.3 acres, wood stove, custom-built loft, 2 outbuildings, $149,000. Someone built every inch of this with their own hands. The next one was built almost a century ago, and it's under $100,000. Something happened to this listing in the last few days that made me stop scrolling and go back to check it twice. Landers calls itself the land of 1,000 vistas, a Mojave Desert community where people originally settled to mine gold and later became an unlikely hotspot for UFO culture between 1940 and 1970. Locals still get called landroids as a nod to that history. This is a 1961 cabin on 2.5 acres, and somebody was in the middle of making it theirs when the listing went up. New laminate flooring runs through the main room. A gray stone pattern accent wall was added recently enough that the drywall behind it still looks fresh. In the kitchen, the cabinets are decorated with butterfly stickers, the kind of detail that only shows up in a house somebody actually lived in and cared about, not one staged for a sale. A new mini-split system and an evaporative cooler mean the desert heat isn't a guessing game here. The shed out back has been used for laundry and extra storage, and mountain and foothill views wrap most of the way around the property. The kind of sightline people pay resort prices to rent for a weekend. It also just dropped $17,000 in price, which on a cabin this cared for usually doesn't last long before somebody else notices. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 408 square feet, 2.5 acres, new mini-split, foothill views, $94,900. Picture this as a 5-year plan instead of a weekend toy. The loan paid down faster than most people finish paying for a car, and 2.5 acres in the desert that stay entirely yours long after that. People in Orange County pay this much for a down payment on a condo with a shared wall. Out here, the walls are all yours. This is a foreclosure, and every single room in it is completely empty. No furniture, no clutter, nothing left behind. Somehow that makes it easier to picture yourself in it, not harder. Montague is a small Northern California town with a genuinely low crime rate. The property crime score here runs 19.9. The national average is 35.4. That's the lowest number on this entire list, and it's not close. Locals describe lush green hillsides, forests on every side, and easy access to nearby national parks and monuments. It's the kind of low number that quietly changes the whole calculation on a property like this. This is a 2-story home built in 1977, 3 bedrooms and 3 full bathrooms across 1,960 square feet, with a 2-car attached garage and a stone fireplace built floor to ceiling out of natural rock, the rough, uneven kind that took real time to lay. Upstairs, a private balcony looks out over the property. Downstairs, the floors run from dark hardwood into carpet in the main living space, and every closet, every bedroom is completely bare, waiting for someone to decide what goes where. $46 a square foot. In Pasadena, people spend more than that per square foot just on the closing costs. 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1,960 square feet, 1.1 acres, 2-car garage, crime score 19.9, $89,900. Picture retirement without a mortgage payment following you into it. This house paid off years ahead of schedule, sitting on land that was already worth more the day you signed than the day you're reading this. An empty house isn't a warning sign. Sometimes it's just a house waiting for someone to stop scrolling and actually call. The last property on this list costs less than most people's car, and once you see what it looks like inside, you'll understand why I saved it for the end. In California real estate, you'll go most of your life without hearing this number attached to a real, livable home. Tonight, you're hearing it. Lancaster sits in the heart of the Antelope Valley, surrounded by the Tehachapi Mountains to the north and the San Gabriel Range to the south, a growing city of over 165,000 people built around the aerospace industry. As one city official put it, people come here for the jobs and stay for the sense of community, and the number one reason buyers land here is simple. You can still get a single-family home and a yard without spending $1 million. This particular property sits about 20 minutes from Palmdale Regional Airport, close enough to matter, far enough to stay quiet. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath mobile home on 4.5 acres, remodeled within the past year with fresh paint throughout and a newly installed split-unit system for year-round comfort. Inside, someone clearly cared about this space: floral curtains, a glass front display cabinet, a recliner angled just right toward the window. It's small, but it isn't neglected. Every surface here has been tended to. Now let me run the actual numbers, because this is the property where the math genuinely doesn't line up with the price. Monthly rent in this market runs $1,880. Buy this property for $40,000, put roughly $10,000 into finishing touches and permitting, and you're all in at $50,000. That's $22,560 a year in potential rent, which means the property could pay for itself in just over 2 years. I ran that 3 times because I didn't believe it the first time. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 4.67 acres, remodeled within the past year. New split-unit system, $40,000. Picture the version where you never move in at all. You just collect the rent every month while the loan quietly disappears in the background, years ahead of any 30-year schedule. This last one has a type, and it's not the buyer looking for a place to live, it's the buyer looking for a rental that pays for itself before the loan does. That's California, top to bottom. A probate sale on 5 acres under a sky full of stars. A half-finished cabin staring straight at Mount Shasta. A metal shop with its own wood stove in a town most people have never heard of. A crime score so high I put it first, and one so low it became the whole argument. A hand-built cabin in the pines. A recreational cabin somebody was still decorating when they listed it. An empty foreclosure with the lowest crime number on this entire list. And a mobile home that pays for itself faster than most car loans ever will. People spend years telling themselves California priced them out before they ever got a real look at it. Every property on this list says otherwise, and it's still sitting there while you finish this video. You're not one of the people who scrolled past this and closed the tab. You watched the whole thing. That's the difference between talking about a deal and actually calling about one. Every one of these is a real active listing. Photos, details, and the agent for each one are linked below. I'm Tony. I run the numbers before I ever show you a single property. Subscribe if you want to see the next batch before it shows up anywhere else. Out of these 8, which one would you actually call about? And are you buying to hold, to rent out? Or is this the deal that finally gets you off the sidelines? Drop it below.